All right, everyone. This project I've been wanting to try since last year when I saw Yvonne over at Ginger Chick Rehab do this. This is a very budget-friendly project. All you're going to need is a picture of your choice. You can do a holiday picture, whatever you would like to do. And I thought this would be nice for the whole winter, not just like at Christmas time, okay? So I printed this picture out. Then you're going to need an artist canvas. It's an 8x10, and it is the board, like the canvas board. Then you're also going to need a stretched canvas. And these came from Dollar Tree, guys. You could see $1.25. And you're also going to need a couple coordinating scrapbooking papers that will match your picture. And you're going to need a paintbrush and some Mod Podge, or you can use an Elmer's purple glue stick, which is my favorite thing to use. So we're going to get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is you're going to use the artist canvas, which is the board one. And we are going to attach our artwork to this piece here. So my paper is a little bit larger than the actual canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my canvas on the back side of the paper and make it even. And then I'm going to trace it out with a pencil. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my paper cutter, your scissors, whatever that you have on hand, and we're going to cut this down to size. So there's my picture. So I'm going to bring my artist canvas over, and I'm going to get this where I want it on here. I just want to make sure all of the canvas is covered. Then I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to start by going around the edges. And then I'm just going to slather it with my glue stick. I'm trying to get it off the edges where it got all over. And smooth it out. Once I glue the entire piece, I'll go over it with my brayer. Just go over it and make sure all the edges are down good. I just think it's so much easier to just use the glue stick instead of Mod Podge. But you do you, you know, whatever you're more comfortable with is perfectly fine. All right, so we've got our picture down on our artist canvas. Now we're going to move over to the stretched canvas. So this is going to go over the top of this. And this is where we are going to bust out of. So we're going to put our two pieces of scrapbooking paper on this canvas. Now, depending on what you want, I'm going to put this piece on the outer edge, the outside of the canvas, and then I'm going to put this darker one on the inside. And of course, it's going to go in like this. Okay? Because you want this part to show from the front. So what I did is I took a piece of brown paper and I measured it on the inside. I stuck it on here, and then I creased it with my fingers, and I cut it out. And I will trace this onto my scrapbooking paper so that I have the correct size. So this piece is going to go in like this. Fits in there really well. You can Mod Podge this in, which would be perfectly good, or you can just use the glue stick. The side that you want showing when your canvas busts out is the side that you put face down on the inside of your canvas, because we put this is going to go on top of here, and then it's going to bust out, so that dark green is going to be the color showing. But we also need to cover up this white part. And that is where this piece comes in. And I'm going to use this right here. So I'm just going to turn it. And I'm going to trace the size that I need. I want to make sure that it's on there straight. Okay. And then we will cut this piece out. Okay. So then this is going to go on here like this. So I'm going to get it where I need it to be. I want to make sure that we've got it all good. All right. And I'm just going to go back to my glue stick. And I am going to glue this all down. And I will press it from both sides to make sure that everything is adhered. Okay, guys, so the next step, so we have to decide where we want, like how much of this image that you want to see. So in my book, I would say we would have to do in the center, because once we cut this, you know, open, we want to see mostly the center of this picture. Okay, so we're going to get our artist canvas, and I'm going to poke a little hole. Let me see. I want to make sure that I get it in the center. So that would be 5. And then half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to poke a hole like that. Then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut the hole a little bit bigger. Take my scissors, and I'm going to cut. Come down this way and cut. Then I'm going to come this way, and I'm going to cut this way. And then this way. And it says you're supposed to bust through. And then you don't want everything to be even, because if something's busted through, it's not going to be even. So you're going to cut these like uneven. And then over here, we'll do a little one. Okay. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these, and we are going to... Oh, I glued it the wrong way! Oh, I glued this on the wrong way. Darn it. Wait a minute. Yeah, I did. It was supposed to be face up. Let me see if I can lift this up and re-glue it. Oh no, I got to get a different piece of paper. Yes, I messed it up, guys. I sure did. Thank goodness I have another piece of paper that I can put on here. Oh, Lord. Thank goodness they give you 2 sheets of each pattern. Oh, no. All right, so now I got to do this again. So this is supposed to go in here this way. All right, so let me put, now I got to put some more. I'm going to put, you know what? Now I'm going to put Mod Podge on there because the Mod Podge will stick all of these other sheets together as well. Oh my goodness. Oh well, what are you going to do, right? This is how we learn and evolve. Okay. All right, there we go. It is down in there. Okay, this is stuck. Now I gotta try to cut this to match. All right, so let me just get this in here. And I'm just gonna follow the same lines.
How this comes out, y'all. Don't want to rip it. I'm trying to... I may have to go back in and re-glue, but it'll be all right. Don't like to waste product. All right, we got one more to cut.
Now, what I will do is I will come in here and trim off this excess paper on each one of these pieces. Basically, we're gonna glue these back like this, each one. But see this ripped, but hopefully you're not gonna see it, but we want it to look busted, so I'm gonna leave it like it is. Heck yeah, I'm gonna leave it like it is, and I'm gonna cut this excess paper here, and we're gonna go with it and see what happens. Okay, then we're gonna take our hot glue gun and we are going to glue back these pieces. So I'm gonna put some glue on here, and then I'm gonna use my and I'm just going to roll it. And then I'm going to press it down from inside. Like that. And we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to put some glue on here and roll it into the glue. It's easier to put the glue on the actual canvas than on your sliced piece. All right, I have all of my edges folded over and glued. Now we're gonna take our picture. And this is going to be placed on the top. And tell me that isn't fabulous, you guys. Oh, I love how this looks. So all we're going to do now is we're going to glue this piece onto our artist canvas. Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's get some glue on here. Okay. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to put this on top. This is easier to line up like that. So we're just going to press it and then we'll clean off this excess glue. But we're going to press this onto here, get rid of that excess glue. Oh, this is going to be so cute. Oh my gosh. Now, to finish this off, we're going to do a couple things. Oh, look at that. We are going to take some, I'm going to go over the edges with some ribbon to try and finish that off. All right, I do not have any green ribbon, the correct color or width. So I had bought these beautiful jute ribbons off of Temo. So I thought this would be perfect to tie in the colors on the cabin. So this is what I'm going to use on the outer rim of my picture. And I think this is going to be just perfect. So we're going to start gluing this down. I'm just going to kind of do a zigzag pattern with the glue. And just glue it around like this. All right, guys. So I found this already made bow, and it just happens to be almost the exact color. So I'm going to add that to the corner here, but I'm also going to add this little twine bow on top of that. Again, to tie in the color of the cabin in the picture. So I'm going to put this on first. And then we are going to add this little double twine bow that I made. We're going to put that in the middle. And I'm just going to cut this a little bit more. I don't want it quite that long. There we go. And now for a final touch, I'm going to get my snow text, and I'm just going to add some little bits of snow here and there on our picture. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glitter. So I'm going to take this stuff is amazing. I love it. So I'm going to grab a brush and I'm just going to like get some little bits. And I'm just going to add it here and there on the picture, on the tree, on the roof. Like that. I'm gonna add some down here. Usually I use a stiff brush for this, but I just grabbed this one out, so I'm just gonna make it work. And I'm just gonna dab it in some other areas here. And then I'm gonna add my German glass glitter. Just gonna sprinkle it on there. Anywhere that I put the snow text. And it's just gonna look so pretty, guys. Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, my friends, we are going to do a couple primitive projects today. So I'm going to teach you how to grubby up a couple items that I thrifted. Now, I am loving the primitive vibe. So I had gotten this candle. I think it was either at an estate sale or a thrift store. So I'm going to show you how to make this look grubby. What you're going to need is some Mod Podge. And I have this mixture here. It's called Grubby Mix. And I want to give credit where credit is due. I got this recipe from another YouTuber. Her channel is called Repurposed My Way. And I believe her name is Shelly. And this is where I got the recipe. I will put the recipe in the description box for you. But basically what it is cinnamon, ground cloves, ground nutmeg, pumpkin pie spice, and instant coffee. So you're going to mix all of those ingredients together, and I just keep it in this Tupperware container. So what we're going to do, I did try to tape off some of the cord. And let me just mention, pour your Mod Podge into a different container, because if you don't, you'll contaminate your whole container with this grubby mix. So be sure and pour some in another container, or have a container that is just strictly to use for grubbying things up. So I'm going to go over this candle part with some Mod Podge. And then I'm going to sprinkle my grubby mix onto the candle. Try not to get it on the inside where your bulb goes. You could tape that off as well. Okay. Now, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up painting the base black. But I wanted to just show you how to do this part first. So we're going to set this aside to dry for about 10 minutes because we're going to have to go back over that with more Mod Podge, but I want to let it sit for about 10 minutes. I recently took one of these, let me zoom out, one of these awesome vintage candle holders. And I made one into a primitive candelabra. And basically doing the same thing. All right, guys, this has been sitting for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to apply another coat of Mod Podge over the top. I'm going to kind of just like dab it on first, like this. Next. Okay, and then we're just going to brush over it. Just like that. Okay. This is why you want to dedicate a bottle just for your Grubby mix. Then we're going to grab our heat gun. And this is where the magic happens, guys. All right, guys, so this is basically what it's going to look like. It's not all the way dry yet. You could see there's still Mod Podge there that's not dry. So I'm going to have to be very careful when I paint the base. And I'm just going to use my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in black to paint the base of this. And I'm going to paint right over the stuff here because it's hard to get off. And I'm just going to paint right over it. It's not a big deal. I'm using this like pointy brush. Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty basic. I mean, everybody knows how to paint, pretty much. So, I'm just gonna, this is gonna take a couple coats because I'm going over a shiny surface. All right, so I will do the handle. I will let that dry, give it a second coat, and then we'll come back. All right, so as usual, I had a change in plans, and I decided to paint this Tuscan red. And I also wanted to put some greenery around it, and remembered that I had this vintage plastic greenery. And I think this is going to be perfect. Now, I am going to have to cut in between here so that the cord this will slide down over the cord. So I'm just gonna make a cut like right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna slide this down over. Look at that. That is like perfect. I want the cord to fit, this to fit down through the cord. Look at that. I didn't even have to put anything together. This was like perfect. The only other thing that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow to put over here. And I just got some Jubilee homespun fabric. And I have these strips that I cut yesterday for something else. And I think I am going to use this one because it's got the green and that beautiful red that I painted the candle holder. So I'm just going to take out my my Bodabra, and we're just going to make a little bow. So I'm going to put my jute in here because that's what I'll tie it with. And then I'm just going to take my fabric and I'm going to make small loops. I don't want real big loops. I'm just going to try to make them even. That's perfect. I don't want anything any bigger. And I'm going to tie this in a couple knots. As tight as I can get it. I like to do 2 knots just to be on the safe side. And then I actually could just use this and I could just tie it around here like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Cut off the excess. I'm going to make one more knot. Trim that. And then I think I will put cut off all these strings. I'm just kind of turning this like that. I'm going to put a little button here. All right, guys, now for I gotta push these down. Now for the candelabra. Look how awesome this came out. Oh, look at that. So I wanted to mention that the reason why you hit it with the heat gun when you put your coat of Mod Podge over your Grubby mix is because it melts the Mod Podge and the instant coffee crystals, and it gives you that awesome, it just is fantastic. So I have some vintage Santas here that I'm going to be adding on here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Spanish moss all along the bottom of this. All right, guys, I have all of my Spanish moss on, and I wanted to add some of these berries. So I'm just going to clip off pieces and add them throughout the Spanish moss. Like these two, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them in with some glue. Just want to add just a little bit of color. I mean, we're going to get some color with our Santas, but I'm going to put a bow on this center one. So I don't want to put anything over there. I have to glue them like on the base and up against the candles. I'm just going to hold them into place until the glue sets. I'm probably going to add a little bit of glue down here between his suit and the candle to hold it up against there. Okay, I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to do some berries on this side as well. All right, so I went ahead and I just made a messy bow, and I am going to tie this to the front of the center candle. I'm going to make sure to tie it nice and tight. I could always add a dab of glue as well to make sure that it stays where I want it. Because if I want to add anything else, I need to see how much room my bow is going to take up. Oh, this is so cute. Center of this, I'm going to put a rusty snowflake. I love these. So I'm just going to glue that in the center. So that's what we're looking like. I'm thinking I may add some small pine cones and stuff to this. But other than that, this is going to be done, guys. And I just am in love. All right, guys, I was looking and I remembered I had ordered some of these. And I think I got them off of Amazon. I'm not sure what they're called, but I used them for the tops of carrots for some crafts. But I decided I'm going to add a few of these in here just to add a little bit more color. So I'm going to see if I can't tuck these in here. Sure I can. That one will go right there. As I burn my finger off. What else is new? Yeah, I like it with the little bit of green in there. Definitely. Boy, I keep going in my stash and finding more, guys. I found these old vintage lights that I'm going to add in here as well. I'm just trying to figure out where I think I might add them in between my bow in the front. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I like that. All right, my friends, this project is a pretty simple one. I bought this cutting board at the thrift store, and I'm going to give it a paint job, and I'm going to put a beautiful transfer on it from the new IOD winter release, and the booklet is called Clementine. This is not even like Christmas, guys. This could be used all year long. I am going to unscrew the handle from my cutting board so I don't have to worry about getting paint on it. So I will get that taken off, and then we'll get this painted. Okay, so I really wanted to use milk paint on this, but I don't have any white or off-white colors in the milk paint. So I'm just going to go with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. And we're going to get this painted up. I'm not going to make you watch me paint the whole thing. Y'all know how to paint. But it's going to take a couple coats. I can already tell. And I am going to do the entire board, front, back, and bottom and sides. Yeah, I did want to use the chalk paint, but milk paint. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of colors in the milk paint. I do have to get some more. And I just want to go back over it and even it out like that. All right, guys. So I got my board painted, and now it's time to put our transfer on. And I'm trying to decide. I'm gonna try and center it. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to rub over the entire transfer. Then pick a corner and start lifting up on it, on the vellum, to help release the transfer from the vellum sheet. But I like to make sure it's stuck down well before I do any lifting up of the sheet. If you find that a part of your transfer did not adhere, you just lay this back down and rub over it again, and it should release. Okay guys, so let me just fix this. I wanted to add a little bit of something on the top and the bottom, and I was going through my stamps and I took out my IOD stamp, and it's called Adornment, and I'm going to put this really nice border on the bottom and the top. Just to fill in kind of like that open space. So I'm going to take the, darn it, every time I pull this out, I can't remember the name of it. It's a piece of thick plastic that you stick your stamp on, and you can line it up on the grid. I think I'll use my brown ink. Because it'll bring out the brown in the branches. And I'm going to ink this up. Trying to make sure that I get all the areas. And then I am going to line it up on the bottom. And very carefully, I'm never taking my hand off of this stamp. I always have one hand holding it while I move the other one along, applying pressure. And then you want to lift straight up. Look at how pretty. That just really added that extra something. Let me turn this way now. Do the same process again. Well, I didn't get it straight, I don't think. I had the glare from the light was shining off of this plastic sheet, and it kind of messed me up, but we'll see what it looks like. Oh, it's not bad. It did move a little bit over here, but oh well. For this little finger sander, I love this thing. You can get these on Amazon. I think I have it linked in my description box. And I'm just going to just do some light distressing, nothing crazy. Just to bring back a little bit of that wood. Sorry guys, I knocked my camera again. right, guys. So I put my handle back on, and I decided to put some transfers on the other side as well. I had a couple issues in a few spots where the transfer was pulling up the paint. So I guess the paint wasn't dry enough in those couple of areas, but that's all right. This is not supposed to look pristine anyway. So now I need to seal in my chalk paint and my transfers. And I am going to go with my clear wax. I'm going to seal everything with the clear wax first. And then I'm going to go over it with some dark wax. Just going to wipe it back gently. I already did the sides of the board. I wanted to do that before I put the handle on. So now I'm going to turn it over and we're going to do this side. All right, now we're going to pull out our dark wax. And the reason I put clear wax on first is because the paint is going to suck up that, whatever wax you put on first, the paint is going to suck it right up and you're not going to be able to wipe it back. So that's why I always put my clear wax on first before I use dark wax, because then you can wipe back, you know, as much of your dark wax as you want to. Yes, I wanted to give it some age. Now, if I would have put this dark wax on first without the clear wax, it would have stayed that really dark color like when I first put it on. But you want to keep making sure you fold your towel so you have a clean towel. Now I'm going to go in while my wax is still damp. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Decrepit Dust. This is by DIY. And I'm just going to use a soft brush. And I'm going to just go, I want to go like around the edges with it, just to age it up a little bit more. Now, by all means, if you don't want your stuff to look old or aged, you can leave out the dark wax. And you can leave out the distressing. It's all, you know, depends on what kind of look you're going for. I happen to like the aged patina look. And then you can kind of blend it in with your shop towel.